Well, what do we have here? The first 2018 TV to arrive in our test room, that's what. And this is the Sony XF90, also known as the X900F in the USA and various other model numbers in other regions in the world. Right, without further ado, let's unbox this big Hello everyone, Vincent Dio from HDTVTest here. I'm a TV reviewer and professional calibrator. Now I've finished setting up this Sony XF90, also known as the Sony X900F in the USA, and this is the 55-inch model in the UK, so the correct model number is Sony KD55XF9005, and I've just finished setting it up from factory, and I'm going to go through the picture settings and try and explain some of them. But before I do that, I would like to tell you the story of how this review sample came about. Now, as you probably know, several other publications in Europe already had their reviews of the Sony XF90 or X900F published, and the thing is, HDTVTest has never been very high on Sony's list of priority in terms of sending out review samples, so they would actually prefer to send out review samples to more established publication with more traffic and reach. And every single year I have always had to wait a long while before I get the first Sony TV review samples in. So this year I see the situation happening again, other publications getting the Sony XF90 review samples first. So I thought that I was going to just go out and buy a retail sample myself to test, because I know how keen you are to find out my thoughts about this television. You know, you base your purchase decision on my findings. And I was going to dip into my fund, the fund that I've actually been saving up to buy the 100-inch Sony Z90 or Z90, and I think I'm probably about 0.5% there. And I was going to use the fund to buy this TV, but fortunately someone came to my rescue. So Paul, the store manager at Richer Sounds Manchester, called me up asking me if I wanted to review this TV, and so naturally I said yes. So this TV actually came from Richer Sounds in Manchester. They are located on Deansgate, and the store manager is Paul. It is a brand new retail unit, so its performance should be as expected as what a regular consumer will be able to get. And I'm very grateful to Paul for loaning me the sample to run my comprehensive array of tests on this full array local dimming direct lit LED backlight television. And Richer Sounds, I think, if you are in the UK, you probably don't need any introduction. They are one of the most well-known electrical retailer, give fantastic service, and having spoken to Paul a few times, he is genuinely very friendly, very knowledgeable. So thank you, Paul, for loaning me this Sony XF90 to review, and in return I would appreciate it if you guys watching, you can support him whenever possible. If you're thinking about buying any television, even if it is not this one, just give him a call on this phone number here, and he will help you out with great service and pricing as well. And I think with Richer Sounds, you get a 5 or 6 year warranty by default with a VIP scheme as well. So thanks again, Paul, but let's get back to the Sony XF90 and the picture settings. Let's bring up the picture menu, and then I'll go into advanced settings and explain some of them. So brightness determines the light output from the television. On other brands, it is normally known as backlight. Contrast determines the white level. Gamma determines how the input signal is being translated to the screen. So if you actually increase the gamma, it will make it brighter for viewing in a daytime environment, or if you make it darker, it make it more suitable in a darker environment. But don't make it too dark, or else your shadow detail may get crushed. Now black level, this determines the threshold at which the video black is set. So if you raise it too high, you may raise your black level unnecessarily without any increase in shadow detail. But if you drop it too low, then you may start crushing the shadow detail. So let me try and restore it to the default of 50. And black adjust is just some dynamic contrast stretching near black. Advanced contrast enhancer affects both the darker end and the brighter end in terms of the dynamic contrast system. Auto local dimming, this is a full array local dimming LED LCD, so presumably the auto local dimming just controls the algorithm. Extended dynamic range is key for HDR rendition. And if we go into the color submenu, color just globally increase or decrease the color saturation and intensity of the color gamut. Hue basically rotates the secondary color tint. Color temperature, you can set it to various settings, and cool, expert 1, expert 2, warm. And then advanced color temperature, this is basically 2-point white balance controls and also a 10-point white balance controls. So I'll explain the 2-point white balance controls first. Red gain, green gain, and blue gain affects the brighter portion of the image. Red bias, green bias, and blue bias affect the darker portion of the image. And Sony has also allowed us to calibrate the 10-point white balance controls. And you can see here that it runs from 1 all the way to 10. Right. And if we go back, and you can adjust at each 10% interval. Bear in mind that when you switch on local dimming, this may be off, so you need to be very careful. If you switch off local dimming to calibrate it, maybe it actually won't translate into real-life performance when you switch on local dimming eventually. Clarity is sharpness, is basically edge enhancement. Relative creation is Sony's edge enhancement and detail retrieval algorithm. Master in 4K, random noise reduction, digital noise reduction. These usually try to reduce the amount of noise in the image, but because even on the best in-TV processors, they usually have some difficulty differentiating between true noise and also fine details. So you may find that some of the finer details are being scrubbed away by the noise reduction. So just be gentle with this. And smooth gradation, this is a technology I really like from Sony. It basically tries to smooth out any posterization or banding in less than pristine content. And then we'll go to motion. Motion flow is the motion compensated frame interpolation system and backlight scanning technologies on the Sony XF90. New for 2018, exclusively on this TV, the Sony XF90 or the X900F in the States, there is a new motion technology called Motion Clarity X, and what it does is to use backlight scanning, but because normally backlight scanning dims the light output, what Sony is going to do is to use the local dimming algorithm to locally boost the light output where the image is dimmer to try and maintain the light output when backlight scanning is happening. And we will certainly try to assess that, and from my understanding, X motion clarity is only applicable when the motion flow is set to custom and the smoothness and clearness are set to specific figures. But again, we'll test it out when I review this television. And film mode determines the threshold at which film mode deinterlacing is applied. And if we go into the video options, HDR mode, right, you can see that there is auto, HLG, HDR10, auto, and maybe in the future Dolby Vision. I won't say near future because who knows when the Dolby Vision firmware update will arrive. It may not actually be imminent. And if we go down here, HDMI video range, auto is usually sufficient unless you have a specific use case where the video level or the PC level is set wrongly. Color space, again, auto is normally correct. The TV will detect the info frame from the incoming signal and apply the appropriate gamut, either Rec 709 or Rec 701 or Rec 2020. And that concludes my very quick run through of the picture settings that are available on the Sony XF90. Nothing's changed compared with the year before. I think on the XE90, on the XE93, XE94, the ZD9, following the Android Nougat firmware update, they all have the same user menu, the same picture settings. So I'm not going to delve into them, but hopefully you found this video useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.